It's the GPG finals, and it's Splashcat and Test, both on the exact same Sultai Heart Attack deck. They built it together, and they, tested it against all that stuff, and they're in the finals, which I guess shows that they really built the deck, tested against the right meta, and, made it in to the finals against each other. And it's not like, one of them just got lucky, or both of them just got lucky, because I mean, if both of them are in the finals, that's a lot of games, and you can't just get lucky in all your matchups. So I think it just shows that either A, Heart Attack is too good, which, maybe, or B, Splashcat and Test just played against the right meta and planned the deck right. And with TMI and EOW coming in soon, I think the meta will be a shake-up, and probably, maybe, Heart Attack won't be as good. Maybe it's just safer to play a control deck in a meta that you don't really understand. But it looks like Splashcat and Test are starting the game. Splashcat has seeding, so they're on play. Okay, let's look at their hands. Test, well, I guess I'll wait for them to decide and keep. Test has, okay, Splashcat keeps. So Splashcat has a Flight of Depths, which is a blue-black chalk fetch and an island, so a pretty good mana base. Test also keeps. Splashcat plays the island. There's Cosmic Sinkhole and Portal Fractures for counterspells, Prying Inquiry for discard. Biohazard isn't the best in this matchup, but it's really nice as a win con. And there's also Gate of Realms to fetch Heart. On Test side, we have Simul, which is really good as just a mid-range Planeswalker and just to untap Heart. Test accidentally draws a second card, so they just undid and shuffled. Prying Inquiry, again, as discard. Cosmic Sinkhole, again, for counterspell. And Pithwell and Exant for removal. The Exant isn't really as good, because Intrepid is really the only thing that's ever going to become a creature in this deck. Or I guess Simul tokens, but it's not really much of a concern. A lot of depths from Test. Passes. Yeah, I think this mirror is just going to be kind of them bouncing back and forth, making sure they have counterspells up to protect their win cons, but then maybe the opponent having another second counterspell. So this is kind of just going to be an instant speed dance for the first few turns as they both try and build up mana or fetch Heart. I think really it's going to start up these. Yep, Test probably just going to Portal Fracture this. Cosmic Sinkhole doesn't work because Splashcat does have this Flooded Depths to fetch the mana. Or Test might just not counterspell it, but based on the fact that Test is fetching, probably is going to be a counterspell here. Okay, Test gets Nomad's Township. Looks like it's a Portal Fracture. Loses a life off the Township. Splashcat, yeah, looks like they're going to fetch blue-green for Sinkhole. So, Prying Inquiry will resolve. Probably just taking Sinkhole here, since Pithwilt and Exant are nowhere near as good in this matchup. Pithwilt is nice if it hits all of the win conditions, but Sinkhole, you'd rather have your spells resolve. And Test won't have much interaction after this, though there's still the Prying Inquiry. So maybe Splashcat takes the Prying Inquiry to avoid having to get rid of the Gate of Realms. And in that case, they have the Gate of Realms and Sinkhole to get Heart and maybe Biohazard. Biohazard for 3 does just get rid of, well, I guess also 4 for Simul. We'll just get rid of it. So, it's either Prying Inquiry or Sinkhole, though it really depends on what angle you're trying to shoot at in this matchup. And obviously, I'm not the one playing this, so, or I'm not really an expert on Heart Attack. I don't really play control decks that much, so just really depends on how you're going to play this game. Are you going to try? Is Splashcat going to try and be more the aggressor or more reactive? I think it's probably, with Splashcat's hand and knowing Test's hand, it's probably better for Splashcat to take the prying inquiry, because they take the prying inquiry, because now Splashcat can still play around Sinkhole with Gate of Realms next turn, which also gets hard. There's Corrupted Memory, though, to hit Gate of Realms out of Splashcat's hand, or just any card. If Test probably just Corrupted Memories for no glitches. Yeah. Leaves up Sinkhole, gets Gate of Realms. I think it could be Portal Fracture, but it's probably just Gate of Realms, right? Yeah, it's Gate of Realms. That's a pretty good draw from Test. And there's still Sinkhole up. Corpse Fed can hit. I'm not sure Graveyard is really relevant, but it probably... Corpse Fed can just hit 2 things, incidentally. I don't think the Graveyard will end up mattering in this matchup. Yeah, Test just says, yeah, it doesn't super matter. Great Gate and Inquiry. Probably just gonna be a pass, leave up Clue and Portal Fracture from Splashcat, maybe. Or maybe guess down the Biohazard to force Test to act. But Test does have the Pithwilt for the Biohazard, so that might be a bit sketchy. Yeah, looks like it's the same thing. Portal Fracture, leave up Clue. Test draws Forest. That's a 4th land for Simul, but Test knows that Splashcat has Portal Fracture. Splashcat looks like just going to crack the Clue here. Draws an Exunt, one of the worst cards in this matchup. Another Portal Fracture from Splashcat, so Test is going to have a hard time resolving their spells here. Just a pass from Splashcat. Splashcat probably looking to be able to hit 5th land to be able to protect their Biohazard, maybe. And probably just looking to find Heart to get this Mastery Veil to be able to be a 7 mana protected lethal. Well, not 7 mana. Well, it depends on how much mana. But, like, when you have Heart and a bunch of lands down, soon you'll just have, like, 14, 15 mana, and Mastery of the Veil will end up being lethal. And, like, Test's life total is already 15, which means Mastery of the Veil is a 10 mana lethal. So not 7, but 10. So then if you have a 12 mana, you can do that with Counterspell Backup, or 14 with double Counterspell Backup. Splashcat draws Reconsider, and passes again. Yep, like I thought earlier, this is just going to be a dance of who will play their card first. Yep. That's going to be one of these, huh? Splashcat says, yep. It's just neither of them wants to play their cards for fear of counterspells. And, I mean, it's definitely valid if you just look at Splashcat's hand here. Triple counterspell. Looks like Test is going to attempt to resolve their Simul here. At least I'd assume so based on the fact they're fetching. Yep, Simul. Leaves up Pithwilt and Sinkhole. Sinkhole doesn't work, but Test will just pay for the Portal Fracture here. But then Splashcat has the Reconsider, or a second Portal Fracture also works. Probably better to keep the Portal Fractures for later, because actually, okay. Well, Test is tapped out now, so this is probably a good time for Splashcat to Simul. Yep. And then Simul can untap 2 lands. If Splashcat wants to leave up a Counterspell or Exile, it can also +2 and make an Elemental. And if Simul keeps living, eventually it might ultimate, and that'll just probably win. So, that is something to keep an eye for, because this is a control matchup, and Test currently doesn't have removal for the Simul. I guess If Sinkhole ends up happening, Pithwilt does count 4 colors, which will hit the Sumo. There's a Sinkhole for Splashcat. So it's probably just plus the Sumo up to 8 to try and get to that ultimate, which, yep, just an Exeunt from test. Probably just, yeah, plussing the Sumo up to 8. I don't see any reason not to. Yep, plus the Sumo up to 8 makes another elemental. Now, this is a +1, but it does actually put a loyalty counter on each planeswalker in the ability's text. The 1/1 gets exunted from test, but this ability is going to go off next turn. So test really going to need something, because this Pithwilt doesn't hit anything currently. So the only way Splashcat loses their symbol here is if they reconsider on end step. Test does Sinkhole into Pithwilt, which will be 4 colors. Or, I guess Test not going to do that. Does Pithwilt count for... Pithwilt counts for 3 colors, right? I'm not dumb. Yeah, single ultimate here. Draws 3 cards, makes 3 4/4s, and then what happens now is, yeah, Splashcat draws the land, and then there's also Mastery of the Veil, which Test is forced to counter if it is played. There's also Biohazard, though that's just detrimental to Splashcat at this point. Test still has Exeunt in hand, which will get rid of one of the tokens, and a Pithwilt to get rid of another one. Splashcat maybe going to Prying Inquiry into Simul to untap. Or maybe just Simul +2, because now making tokens draws cards. Oh, wait. Already used the ability this turn. I'm not thinking straight. Okay, there's Prying Inquiry. Looks like it's going to get Sinkholed by Test, or, yeah, Test just plays Exeunt first. Then it's probably just Sinkhole from Test into kill. Yep, Sinkhole. Pithwilt hits one of the tokens. And it's probably just a Sinkhole because that hits... Okay. I guess it didn't really matter because they get discarded anyway. It's probably better to just force Splashcat to either use their mana or lose the clue. Yeah. Splashcat says 3 Exeunts in this matchup is rough. And Tess says, you're telling me. And Splashcat says the emblem procs on the clue. This emblem is putting in some work here. Splashcat discards Exeunt at end step, as that's just bad for them. Test draws a land. Test is in a really bad position, actually, if I'm counting right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so not lethal with Mastery of the Veil yet. Need 7 for that. But there's still Delve for treasures. And Test is just so far behind. I think this is just Simul +2, draw, make a token, and then hopefully next turn you just have Hyper Lethal with... I don't see a way Splashcat is losing this game. I guess Biohazard is pretty bad, but if Test just leaves up Counter Magic, that just doesn't resolve. Splashcat uses Simul to untap lands. Oh yeah, I forgot about that, but there's Mastery of the Veil for lethal. Yeah, I missed that, but yeah, their Mastery of the Veil is for lethal. Let's see what they could sideboard. I'm not... Maybe Trauma Spike is something you could bring in this matchup. I'm not sure. Probably not. Maybe. And we'll see. Maybe they sideboard differently. Maybe they both have, like, constructed a sideboard plan for a heart attack matchup, and they're both going to go by it. Maybe they'll change it up so that the other doesn't know. I don't know. They are on the exact same deck. So, the main thing is probably just Trauma Spike and Celestial Banishment and Seal the Tomb. Probably not Celestial Banishment. I guess Celestial Banishment hits Intrepid, Gate of Realms, and Simul. So actually, which are the main win cons of the deck. So maybe Celestial Banishment is worth it to bring in. There's also Trauma Spike. Probably not worth it to bring in. Maybe it is. I don't know. Like, as I've been saying, I don't play this deck. I don't really play this style of deck too much. So, I'm not the best at evaluating how you should sideboard, what you should put in the deck, what you should play at on turns. It's probably Celestial Banishment and then maybe Trauma Spike, depending on how you feel about it. Because Trauma Spike can hit, like, Intrepid, which is a good win con. It can hit Heart, if you just want to cut off a lot of their mana. So, Trauma Spike seems reasonable, but it's probably not worth it to bring too many in. Okay. Test brings in Stand Unassailable. I guess that is actually a nice win con. And brings in Trauma Spike, like I said. Test Mulligans, that's why there's no Stand Unassailable in this hand, but we do see the Trauma Spike here. On Splashcat side, we have Double Swamp with Simul, which isn't the best, but we also see the Celestial Banishments being brought in. Probably mainly just Exons and Pithwilts being cut. Maybe you do keep Pithwilts in, as they do cut off Intrepid and Gate of Realms. They're not cut off, kill. Probably just, Wayfarer's Shrine from Splashcat. Definitely fetches blue for the Celestial Banishment and Portal Fracture and Sinkhole. Test plays Island, draws Swamp, plays Swamp. Test really just trying to get this Gate of Realms or Trauma Spike down to try and cut off Splashcat on either Heart or Intrepid or Gate of Realms or whatever win con Test wants to get rid of. A Trauma Spike. Splashcat draws Delve for Treasures, I believe. Plays a tapped corpse that passes, just leaving up Sinkhole, X equals 0. Test draws another Trauma Spike, which is nice because that does cut off the both of the Heart tutors if they both resolve. No, pretty unlikely that these both resolve with Sinkhole. Splashcat fetches an Island for Sinkhole, it looks like. Yep. Sinkhole hits Trauma Spike, so now Test probably just tries to Gate of Realms next turn. Maybe. Though, Splashcat and Prying Inquiry here. Or also Celestial Banishment. Leave up Celestial Banishment. Yeah, just looks like Prying Inquiry. Probably just takes Gate of Realms, maybe Sinkhole. Probably just Gate of Realms, especially since that's going to resolve, and Splashcat can't do anything about it. And I think you'd rather get Trauma Spike than let your opponent get a Gate of Realms down. Okay, Splashcat takes Trauma Spike. I mean, I guess either of them are reasonable, but Gate of Realms is a big win con, so... Oh wait, Splashcat is Banishment. I forgot about that, so... that it doesn't make sense to take Trauma Spike, though. This does let Test get Heart down, which... isn't the best for Splashcat. Gate of Realms resolves, probably gets Heart, or I guess Monument of Queens is... Actually, Monument of Queens makes more sense if you think about it, because it's just a really good win con, and it's on a land. I didn't think about that, but that's probably the right play. And then, especially if you get to tutor up Heart, it's really good. Splashcat crafts the clue for Prying Inquiry, looking for a land, it looks like. Plays the Swamp. No green sources, which means double Simul and RFPR just can't be played on Splashcat side, which is not the best. There's also Intrepid from Test side, which will let Test tutor up Heart. And then Heart can start pumping up the Monument of Queens to put more counters on it. The Monument of Queens comes down for Test. Yeah, it looks like just Intrepid from Test. Probably gonna just not even try and counter this from Splashcat, right? Because Portal Fracture just gets paid for. Yeah, just resolves. Intrepid is getting nerfed to 3/3 in September. So you will actually be able to bolt the boat now. I guess not, because Scorch is an instant speed. Fire Erasure the bolt. the boat. Fire Erasure is basically Bolt. Which is closer to Bolt? Fire Erasure or Scorch? I guess Scorch is technically closer because it's a sorcery and it has the same text, and Fire Erasure technically exiles. Fire Erasure really feels more like a Bolt than sometimes than Scorch. Actually, Scorch probably does, because Scorch is by far better in Burn, right? Oh, okay. Simul is protected against sinkholes after Splashcat finally draws that green source. Probably just untaps, leaves up Banishment and Portal Fracture. Or, yeah, I guess just playing RFE is also pretty fine. But it is just going to get sinkholed by Test. Might have been better to leave up Banishment to kill the Intrepid, because that is a 5-turn clock right now. And also Gate of Realms and Monument of Queens can start hitting it for damage. Like with Heart now, that makes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. With 3. So that's 6, 7 mana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Gate of Realms costs 4 right now, so Test won't be able to like double Monument of Queens or Monument of Queens plus the Gate of Realms. But it's still good. It's not bad to have your Monument of Queens start growing, have Heart out, be attacking with Intrepid. It's a pretty fast clock in this kind of slower control matchup. Especially once that 7th land comes down, you can start Gate of Realmsing, Intrepid, and Monument of Queensing all on the same turn. Yeah, Tess says game's hard. This kind, yep, I think it's right. Like if you're in, especially this kind of control mirror where both players are trying to eke out this kind of mana advantage, and then once you just get this huge amount of mana from Heart, there's just so many decisions you can make. Like does Tess want to RFE and try to coalesce it? Maybe, I'm not sure, because Heart makes 6 mana. Wait, yeah, Heart wait. No, never mind. You can't attack with Monument of Queens because it's already tapped. But Tess has a total of 8 mana, which means, yeah, Tess just leaves up Celestial Banishment and Monument of Queens, it looks like. Splashcat draws a Portal Fracture, which will be nice against Tess. His Splashcat looks like Splashcat's going to go for Delve for treasures. Okay, test Celestial Banishments, the Simul, it looks like. And this just puts Splashcat in such a bad position right now. Obviously, Splashcat still has the 2nd Simul, but that can only do so much. I guess Splashcat does also have Celestial Banishment for the Intrepid. Wait, does... Yeah, Splashcat just... wait. Oh, wait, what? Oh, I see. Wait. I don't think that works. Because... Oh, Splashcat plays Portal Fracture. Okay, that does work. Never mind, I cannot look at the Cockatrice logs. Or Splashcat's hand, I just can't see. There's one. Hits a Trauma Spike. Hits another Trauma Spike or just an Inquiry. Probably better for Trauma Spike. Or I guess if you want to use your mana better, just takes the Trauma Spike. Pithwell and Banishment, it just has to be. Okay, I guess Pithwell does also hit everything, and it's not like Test has a Simul right now. Gate of Realms hits Simul for 3. Test untaps, draws another Intrepid. I'm not sure what that gets, but you probably might just save it for if the Intrepid gets killed by Pithwell or Celestial Banishment. The test knows that Splashcat has Pithwell, but not Banishment, so test probably just saves the Intrepid for later as an extra win con. Looks like Test is going for RFE here, or maybe the Intrepid. Yep, RFE. There's another Gate of Realms, notably, and a Portal Fracture. And having that second Gate of Realms along with the second Intrepid just gives Test so many ways to win, which is really valuable in this mirror. Test uses Intrepid to kill Simul, probably worth it. This lowering Splashcat's mana advantage and passing, leaving up Portal Fracture. And, wait, no, Gate of Realms isn't left up here. His Heart doesn't produce enough mana. There's another Swamp from Splashcat. Could be double Trauma Spike if they want to. Probably just a Pithwell, though. Okay, another Simul. Test will probably not attempt to Portal Fracture this. Yep, resolves. Can now untap 2 lands into Trauma Spike, but that does get Portal Fractured, or into Pithwell with backup. Just leave those up. It's probably just worth it to do that. Simul is kind of like a Teferi if it was fair and didn't draw you cards. I mean, obviously it lets you untap Heart, and that's the main reason you play it, but it's actually, it's like if Teferi was a fair card. It also doesn't have removal stick to it. It just makes a token as a +2, and obviously we saw that ultimate being really useful. So, I think this is just a nice card for Heart Attack. It doesn't feel unfair. And if there's a card unfair really to Simul, it's Heart. Okay. Splashcat probably thinking about whether or not to Trauma Spike here. Decides not to. Passes to Test. As untaps, upheaps. Draws a Prying Inquiry. That's going to be annoying for Splashcat. They can Portal Fracture it, but I guess it could go Portal Fracture into Pithwell for the Prying Inquiry. Though I guess the Prying Inquiry doesn't resolve if it gets Portal. Yes, just Portal Fracture here, still leaving up Pithwell. Pithwell kills probably just Intrepid. Oh, wait, both Pithwell and Banishment. Intrepid attacks Simul. Splashcat Pithwelts the Intrepid. Let's test, I guess just Portal Fractures here. But it does give Test less mana and doesn't let them Heart, Monument of Queens, or Gate of Realms, or play the second Gate of Realms. Now Test, Splashcat can Trauma Spike for the second Intrepid, Gate of Realms, and Biohazard, if they want to. Might be worth it. Simul untaps Forest and Swamp. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be Trauma Spike. Or some combination of Trauma Spikes and other cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So not enough for triple Trauma Spike. What is that? Okay, Splashcat Coalesces RFE. I forgot about that. Test actually does have an RFE in their graveyard to coalesce. I completely forgot that was in Splashcat's graveyard. I mean, now you can see why Test boarded and stand unassailable. It's just really valuable to get that big coalesce body out, especially once that wins fast, and also makes you harder to kill. At first, I didn't think that made sense, but now seeing it does actually make a lot of sense when you think about it for a while. Splashcat draws Intrepid, and that's also going to be a big win con for them. Or just a way to block Test's Intrepid, though Test has a second one and also 2 Gate of Realms. There's Lotus Barons from Test, which will prevent Splashcat from being able to use their heart to... Okay, it looks like Test is going to use heart. I'm not sure how much. Heart makes 7 mana. Yeah, Heart makes 7 mana. So, Test has 10 mana total. Gate of Realms costs 3. So, what Test can do is, Gate of Realms, activate both Gate of Realms, deal, kill Simul, kill RFE. Or I guess just kill RFE. Okay, looks like Test is uses Monument of Queens, and Gate of Realms hits Splashcat for using just Monument of Queens in the air, and Test plays a second Gate of Realms, and gets probably just, I'm not sure what land, but definitely one with a different name. Yeah, just gets a Shifting Glade, just to pump up the mana from Heart. How cheap Gate of Realms is to activate. Okay, the Splashcat draws a land, which means Splashcat can go Intrepid into Heart. Splashcat probably attacks. Test can just kill the RFE and have the faster clock. I think Test didn't attack with Intrepid there for just fear of Celestial Banishment, I think, probably. Celestial Banishment exiles the Intrepid anyway, so I think Test might end up firing it up to block here, I'm not sure. Okay. Test blocks with Intrepid. Dies. Splashcat plays their own Intrepid now. Lotus Barons from Splashcat, probably just playing on blowing up Test's hearts. Yep, uses Lotus Barons. Oh, I guess Monument of Queens makes more sense if you think about it, because that's the mana outlet for Heart. Okay, Lotus Barons makes a Lotus Spring for both of them. And obviously, Splashcat probably just doesn't want to fetch any valuable land, because that just gets Lotus Barons from Test's side. If Test wins this GP, it would actually be their second GP win in a row with a control deck. I think so, at least. Let me see. In the GP archive, I'm pretty sure test 1 GP. Yeah, test 1 GPF. Okay, Trauma Spike names Mastery of the Veil, so test just gonna kill Splashcat out of nowhere. But these Gated Realms are still a 2-turn clock, so Splashcat needs to be worried about that. Hit some, Mastery of the Veil. Wow. Where's, okay, hits 2 Mastery of the Veils from test deck, it looks like. Okay, test uses Heart to make a ton of blue mana. Probably just going for Intrepid here. Or maybe... Oh yeah, Coalescing RFE. I forgot about that. Celestial Banishment and Portal Fractures are good draws. Celestial Banishment shuts off Epid's Intrepid. And Test can play their own Intrepid here. Okay, Test plays the Flooded Depths, shocks it in. I'm not sure what Test is going for. Maybe just leaving up both Celestial Banishment and Portal Fracture, or maybe gonna go for Intrepid. Probably just gonna leave, yeah, just Gate of Realmsing actually. Test has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 9 differently named lands. So hits Splashcat for 6. Splashcat needs to kill a Gate of Realms. The Celestial Banishment hits one of them. But that's still a 2-turn clock. And wait, Portal Fracture just hits that Celestial Banishment anyway, so unless Splashcat decides to Trauma Spike Portal Fracture, Test does have the win here. Which, I mean, Trauma Spiking Portal Fracture to guarantee your hit is kind of like, is it really worth it to do this? But you have 3 Trauma Spikes, and you just really don't want to die, so it's probably worth it. No, I mean, obviously Splashcat might not consider that. Or maybe just doesn't want, maybe wants to use the Trauma Spikes on other things. And obviously doesn't know that, wait, does no, Splashcat doesn't know that Test has a Portal Fracture in hand. That just got newly drawn. I'm pretty sure all the Prying Inquiries got countered anyway. Or even if one resolved, it's just too long ago to matter. Splashcat probably thinking here about what to Trauma Spike, or whether to even Trauma Spike. Splashcat probably just want attacks with the boat to get Test down to 11. Okay, there's Trauma Spike. I wonder what it names. Yep, names Simul. That's not a Portal Fracture, so Test still has the win. But now, Splashcat gets to see that Portal Fracture in Test's hand and might end up naming it just to make sure that, you know, Test doesn't just win with Gate of Realms, which doesn't protect Splashcat forever, but it helps certainly. Splashcat going for another Trauma Spike, it looks like. I think this time it just has to be Portal Fracture. Yep, names Portal Fracture. Oh. Looks like Test is going to Portal Fracture the Trauma Spike that's choosing Portal Fracture. And, I mean, the goal of that was just to discard the Portal Fracture, so Splashcat could Celestial Banishment be one of the Gate of Realms, or at least that's what I'm assuming Splashcat wanted to do, because that's what saves them from dying to the second Gate of Realms. Splashcat animates the Intrepid. Test going to Celestial Banishment. Intrepid gets exiled, and RFE isn't really going to do much work. So, Test, I think, is just going to win this pretty easily. Unless, I guess, theoretically, Splashcat could draw a Pithwilt, Celestial Banishment. Celestial Banishment. Well, Celestial Banishment doesn't actually exile artifacts, interestingly. Weird. Well, Splashcat also didn't realize that until after sideboarding, they said. They animate Intrepid. Luckily, Test has their own Intrepid to block it. And also an RFE that can be coalesced, because Test just pretty much has infinite mana with this Heart and all these lands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So Heart is effectively plus 5 mana right now. And if Monument of Queens was on board, the game would just be over. Draws 2 off RFE. Can play the Grim Bastion to make Heart even bigger. Plus 6 mana now. Tries to double Gate of Realms, but Splashcat's going to Celestial Banishment one of them. But Test has the Sinkhole for lethal. Yep, so now we're on to Game 3, and this will decide who wins Grand Prix Giza. And if Test wins, they won 2 GPs in a row with Green-Blue X control decks. Test maybe deciding to board out the Celestial Banishments after realizing it can't exile artifacts. Maybe not. Let me scroll up to find Celestial Banishment there. So it does still hit Planeswalker, so it does still hit Simul, and it does still counter the Gate of Realms and waste some of their mana. Probably not worth it to keep it in, though, just as 2 mana counter an activated ability, or triggered ability, I guess. It doesn't hit Heart, it doesn't hit Monument of Queens. It does hit an Exile Simul. It hits Intrepid, but that doesn't matter because it's 0 mana. It hits Gate of Realms, but that's going to be not really too useful in the late game, because turns don't matter, mana doesn't matter at that point, really. Turns only matter for clocks, right? And if you're the one blowing that up, all you're doing is either advancing your own clock, and if you don't have your own clock, it's pretty just useless. I guess it gives you another draw. Okay, there's a Biohazard, Double Sinkhole, RFE, Lotus Barons, Shifting Glade, Flood, Morass from Splashcat. It's a pretty good starting hand. You have the counterspell, you have the board wipe. Splashcat deciding to be on play. Double Intrepid, Sinkhole, Corrupted Memory from Test side, and also Wayfarer, 2 Wayfarer Shrine to the Swamp to fix Test mana good. So, yep, Test keeps the hand. Probably just turn 1 Shifting Glade, or wait. Okay, turn 1 Flood Morass. Splashcat not going to leave up Sinkhole turn 1, which will let Test play this Corrupted Memory here. Corrupted Memory can take RFE, Biohazard, or Sinkhole. I'm not sure what you take here. It's pretty much you can take anything. Yep, Test takes RFE just to slow Splashcat down a bit, cut down on the draw, which, and though it would have been nice having Splashcat tap out on turn 3, so Test could get their Intrepid down, but there's still 2 of them. Splashcat draws an Intrepid. Test draws Celestial Banishment, and we just saw how, oh wait, Banishment does actually hit Biohazard. There's Mastery of the Veil from Splashcat, which can be a really good win con in the late game. Splashcat decides not to play their Intrepid out, and, probably knowing it'll get counterspelled. Test draws Stand Unassailable, which is, like I said in the last game, just a nice coalesce win con. Test plays Wayfarer Shrine, probably just passes, leaves up Sinkhole. I think this is just one of those games that's going to end up being everyone's afraid to do anything because counterspell could happen. And if someone does something, right, Test might just end up stand unassailable. Stand unassailable in here. Stand unassailable. Resolves. Test up to 26. Still has Sinkhole up. Though, notably, if Splashcat had a land, the Intrepid would dodge Sinkhole. But Splashcat does not draw land. Splashcat passes. Test untaps. Draws a Corpse Bed. Can exile RFE notably. And Test might just play their Intrepid, but it's probably not worth it, thinking, yeah, Splashcat might have counterspells, and we see that Splashcat does. Splashcat decides to Lotus Barons the Corpse Bed. Interesting. I guess looking to fix mana. Looking to fix their mana. I guess it makes sense in the short run, but I mean, if Test gets Heart down, you just might end up regretting it, especially since I believe it's one of. Splashcat draws, taps for 3, going for Biohazard. This is going to get countered by Test Sinkhole here. Maybe Test decides to just Banishment it at end of turn. Or, it hits the ETB trigger. But this Splashcat tapping out there means Test will get their Intrepid down and will be able to leave up counter magic for Splashcat's Intrepid. Getting mana screwed is pretty rough for Splashcat here. It's not going well for them. There's Intrepid and still Portal Fracture backup to kill Splashcat's Intrepid. Intrepid gets Monument of Queens, just being another win con. Heart isn't really worth it, probably, until you have that Monument of Queens on board. But this does mean Splashcat might regret using that Lotus Barons there. Though it might have been worth it if Biohazard did actually come down, though, as we saw, it didn't come down. Prying Inquiry. So Test will just Portal Fracture this, but the Portal Fracture, okay. Splashcat decides not to Sinkhole. Or decides to Sinkhole now, actually. And then this will probably just take Test Sinkhole as the Intrepid just gets Legend ruled, right? It is slightly annoying for Splashcat that Test does have that second Intrepid, right? So, Test draws Portal Fracture, Plays Monument of Queens. Doesn't pump it up, however. Just passes to Splashcat. Splashcat just does not draw lands. Plays their own Intrepid. This gets Portal Fractured by Test. Pretty good draw. Yeah, Splashcat says that's probably game. Right now, Splashcat doesn't really have a way to stop Test Intrepid, and then this Monument of Queens is just going to keep hitting in. This is a fast clock. It's actually a 2-turn clock right now, so Splashcat really needs an answer to 3 things right now. Monument of Queens and both of Test Intrepid. This is really looking like Test is going to win. Splashcat just got mana screwed. Not much you can do about that. Still not drawing lands. The Splashcat concedes. Says they can dibs that much, which I mean, I agree. Like, you're stuck on 3 lands. You really need to leave up your interactive spells to be able to play out your threats. And since most of your threats are 3 mana and Simul's 4 mana, you just can't leave up your interaction and play the threats. But Tess says they got lucky this game. Splashcat says the first 2 games were good, though. Even if they did miss green up for a turn for Simul, which could have made for a very different game. So, Test is our GP Giza winner. Is our GP Giza winner on Sultai Heart Attack. And, yep, as I said earlier, this would be the 2nd time in a row for 2 months that they win with a blue-green X control deck. The last one got Total Surveillance nerfed. This one got, I don't know, did they nerf a card from Heart Attack? Yeah, they nerfed Intrepid. Intrepid, well, not nerfed yet, but it is getting nerfed. So, yeah, Test wins the GP.